Sometimes I'm asked why I joined in a man's profession. It can be an awkward conversation, and I would tell people that I joined the military to serve my country just like anyone else did.
Air TAO, heads up track, Bravo Kilo 205.
We only integrated surface combatants in the 90s, and we had, up until then, a traditional all-male crew really meant all-male crew.
Track 80470.
My name is Lieutenant Kristen Kearns. I'm the operations officer on board USS Mitscher. I'm responsible for day-to-day operations and coordination of the ship, as well as the senior watch officer, which means that I'm responsible for the training for all the junior officers on board.
I'm Ensign Taronda Brown. I'm the electrical officer on board USS Mitscher.
Coast Guard Lieutenant Junior Grade Christina Canvan, the navigator on USS Mitscher. So overall responsibilities, the executive nav admin medical department, but as a navigator, safety of the ship.
Hi, I'm Ensign Karina Monroe. I'm on board USS Mitscher. I'm the CIC officer.
I'm Lieutenant Jocelyn Fox. I'm the fire control officer, so my guys take care of the fire control radar, Spy 1 Delta. I'm also the VBSS boarding officer, so I'm the lead boarding officer for the boarding team, and I'm also one of the 4 search and rescue swimmers on board.
So the enlisted crew is entirely male, so you just have about 10 female officers on board. So it's not considered an integrated ship because of that, because only the wardroom has females.
Newer ships today are built from the keel up, accommodating women and privacy issues. However, all the older ships have to go through a habitability modification, and with only 18% of our female enlisted sailors, we don't have the sailors to fill all the spots for every ship, so it doesn't make sense to spend the money to modify a ship when we don't have the sailors to fill the space.
I did not know it was an all-male ship until I talked to one of my ensign sponsors, and then I found out and I said, oh, that might not be kind of favorable for me, but it turned out to be perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with it at all. I was welcomed as, any other officer.
I really was looking forward to the experience of mentoring younger female sailors. I was really looking forward to that. However, once I found out it was all male and this is what I was going to have to experience, basically, I got over that idea and I just took it for what it was. I grew up with 2 older brothers and stuff, so it kind of just feels like I'm on a ship with a bunch of my brothers, basically.
I don't really ever think about it. It's strange to me now to go onto a ship and have a female enlisted just because of my experience here. I've been here for 4 years, so this is the norm for me. But I've never let it influence how I act or how I lead my sailors, because I feel like a good leader is gender neutral. It doesn't matter whether you're male or female.
All right, roll!
Get it. Yep.
We had many women go through trials and tribulations to pave the way for other people, other women like myself, to do what we're doing today and be successful at it.
And Women's Heritage Month, I think, embodies that we've gone so far. We've been able to prove that we can do just as much as anybody else. And that basically, that as a woman, we have the right to do whatever we want to do, whether that is joining the military or actually being a housewife, whatever we want to do.
I'm deployed. I've got a husband who's a stay-at-home dad with my 2 kids, and I kind of have really taken in force that there is no should for people based on what you are. And people are just as capable for anything that they have a passion for, anything that they have a talent and skill for. So I really try to take that on. That's how I teach my children. And I know that gender roles, traditionally, there are ideas about how you should make money or how a family should be, but we don't really practice that in my family, I guess.
And if you have that drive to serve your country and you have that drive to be part of something bigger than yourself, that reaches across everything. It reaches across race and gender and religion. We have a great country, and people who have never traveled really don't realize how amazing it is, the opportunities that we have in America. And really, I think, become part of something that is molding the future of America, and who wouldn't want to be a part of that?
guys made it ready?
Some of the navies that we work with out here on deployment, you know, they ask you like, is this like a big job for you as a female? Like, can you handle it? And we're like, yeah, how come I could handle it any different than, you know, a male could? And I think just kind of overcoming that stereotype that women fit certain roles and can only stay within those roles and kind of breaking out of that, because we're pretty much open to anything that we want now. So I think that's great, and I think recognizing that's pretty important. So you can do both things. You know, you don't have to, you know, just have a career in the military or only have a family. You can do both.
I'm actually mostly inspired by an imaginary character. It's actually Rosie the Riveter. I have a poster of her in my room at home, and I think about that picture a lot when I think about things that I want to do in my life, because that poster says, you know, we can do it. And Rosie the Riveter is pretty awesome, and she's pretty, and she kind of just embodies that whole can-do attitude, and also the fact that she embodies all the women from World War II. So I think that it was a very honorable time. I think that the fact that the women stood up and took those jobs was really inspiring, and she definitely inspires me.
Here on board, I had a mentor, Commander Monica Stoker, who definitely was part of that movement of women in the military, and especially women on board surface ships. So I wouldn't say that I have a specific role model, but I have encountered a lot of strong women and mentors in my life that have helped me develop as a leader and helped me appreciate the fact that we have so many opportunities today.
First person that come to mind is Admiral Howard. I mean, she's first admiral, 4-star rank, you know, first African American at that. She's definitely setting milestones, and I just want to follow in her footsteps. That's the thing that first comes to mind for me.
With the Coast Guard, we used to, you know, being responsible for all the lighthouses in the country, and there were lighthouse keepers before they kind of merged into the Coast Guard. There were actually women that ran some of those lighthouses, you know, either on their own or just after their husbands passed away or whatever it was. They just kind of took over that leadership, and it was running the lighthouse itself and just kind of guiding mariners home. And I think that was something that people didn't really know was going on at the time, but it now has kind of been brought to light that these women were doing this like completely independently on their own. It's awesome.
I think that our daily actions are what is making history and kind of part of naval heritage. And so I kind of don't focus on any single person. I think that a lot of people who are touted as the first woman to do something or the first person to do something, really we're acknowledging that we've reached another milestone as a community, that we can accept people in that position.
As much as I dislike being pointed out because I'm a woman, I hope to show people that, you know, women aren't limited by their physical capabilities. I think 90% of all of that training is mental. And I think if you're tough mentally and you prepare yourself and you have the drive to go do it, you know, there shouldn't be any question as to whether you're competent because you're a woman.
In general, I'm looking forward to the day when we can celebrate a person's accomplishment without having to mention their race or gender, when we're celebrating accomplishment for accomplishment's sake. You know, I think that Heritage Months are great because it educates us on what we're doing and where we came from, but we also need to remember that moving forward, we all now have that platform of equality that we can step up and all work together to complete the mission.
Again, we'll be setting flight course at 16:30 for a 1700 overhead. See the name of 13.